Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's James here with ProPix TV and Sutlej TV with a special report. I'm here actually in the parking lot of the Surrey Gurdwara here where Hardeep Singh Nijjar was assassinated by several individuals, four actually, who are on trial. The trial gets delayed because there is such a vast information source that they have to bring together. Now, this is information from the police investigations from international agencies, as well as coming in from CSIS, the Canadian Security Intelligence Service. Now, behind me in this parking lot on that fateful night, he was going to his car, peaceful and heading home to his family. The Indian government had these four individuals that were hired, and they assassinated Mr. Nijjar here at this location. Now, since that time, of course, we are well aware of the narrative that the Indian government has been pushing. At this time, Modi and his government are actually pushing now to have a Canadian Border Services intelligence individual extradited to India for trial there. This, again, is just a narrative that Modi and his BJP government continues to push around the world. Between their foreign interference, their transnational repression, and all of the other events that are taking place that they have been called out on, they are steadfast in denial. We have chased all of the information, goes as high as Modi's right-hand man. This, as well as people involved at the consulate in Vancouver and others who have been involved in not only murders in Canada, but also other acts of violence, intimidation, extortion, and who knows what else that they've been involved in this country. They've also been accused of being involved in the attempted assassination and foiled assassination plot of the Sikhs for Justice lead counsel, Mr. Panoon, who is a resident of New York City, but holds citizenship both in Canada and the United States. Now, ever since Justin Trudeau called out Prime Minister Modi and the India government in the Canadian Parliament just over a year ago, India has been very forceful in pushing a narrative that they are only doing this in order to gain political points here in Canada for Justin Trudeau and the Liberal government. This could not be further from the facts. The truth is that the Five Eyes nations have been very instrumental in this investigation and the investigation into India's foreign interference, not only in Canada and the United States, but around the world. As this continues, the tit for tat, India, of course, expelled Canadian consulate members and dignitaries out of that country. Now that we are looking to extradite and place charges against several high-ups in the India government and consular staff, they are going after a border services agent here in Canada, among others. They are also now coming out with a new narrative that Canada has joined up with the Pakistan government to discredit India and to go against them. The truth is that Canada does not hate India. Canada actually loves India. Canada loves the Indian people. It's unfortunate that this is getting blurred by the anger and the frustration that people have that's focused on the government of India. Now, around the world, we're seeing a peaceful campaign and referendum that is all about Khalistan. And for those who are not familiar with what Khalistan is, it is the right for the Sikh people to have a homeland of their own, where it is a sovereign nation, where they are independent, where they control their destiny. Now, if you go back to the partition of 1947, there were a lot of promises made by the India government when the British handed rule back to that area. They divided the region between Pakistan and India. And that was the partition of land of that country, of that part of the world. Unfortunately, what happened is that India had made a lot of promises to the Sikh community. They were very prosperous when they had the Sikh Empire, but unfortunately, India reneged on all of those promises that were made. That is why the Sikh people did not sign the constitution that was introduced in India. It had to do with the broken promises. And ever since then, there has been a narrative for the India government to break down the Sikh culture, to break down the people, to break down the unity, and to place a false narrative around the world of hate and division. And that is something that we're still seeing today. As Prime Minister Modi saturates the internet with his RA agency, which is their intelligence agency in India. They want to spread misinformation and falsehoods about Canada, about the Sikh community, and about their own human rights records. Now, whether or not you are Sikh, Catholic, Muslim, or Dalit in India, you do not have the same rights as the majority of the Hindu population. This is something that has been a very big problem for many decades. Human rights groups have spoken out, but they're never listened to. Now the truth is finally coming out about the misinformation, about the human rights abuses, about the genocide in the 1980s against the Sikh people. This is where we need to decide if we are going to hold India accountable, if we're going to hold Modi accountable, or if we're going to let it just continue as it has been for decades. Once again, this is James Cousineau coming to you from Surrey, British Columbia, Canada. Thanks for tuning in.